Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Hauser. Similar to my Rogue guide last week, I'm going to be making a super quick video on the Warlock class today. Alright, so the very first perk you're going to go ahead and equip on Warlock is going to be Torture Mastery. Once you inflict Curse of Pain on someone or an AI, this is going to give you 1 tick of health per second for each instance of damage dealt. So once you reach level 5, the next perk you should automatically equip is Vampirism. This is going to increase your magical healing off of AI and players by 20%. The third perk you're going to go ahead and use on Warlock here is going to be Curse Mastery. Curse Mastery is very big because it increases the duration of all of your curses by 30%. This one is ginormous. And lastly, you can play around with the other ones, but the truth is more will is going to do nothing but help you with Warlock, so throw on Malice as your fourth and final perk and you'll call it a day. So for skills, obviously guys, the very first one you're going to want to do is Spell Memory here. We'll get into that in a second. Me personally guys, I love to run Phantomize. It is the biggest get out of jail for free card in this entire game. Other people love to run Blow of Corruption. If I'm feeling a little bit more violent, if I'm feeling a little bit more PvP, I'll run this one. But if you want to safe exit most of the time, run some Phantomize. Alright guys, so getting into spells, I'm going to show you the spells that I run. Honestly, there's a lot of flexibility here. Feel free to run whatever spells fit your playstyles the best. So the first two you should automatically equip with no questions asked is going to be Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice. If you hit an AI or a player with Curse of Pain, it instantly deals 10 magic damage to them and curses them with Agony, which is going to be another 10 damage given over time. The second one right here, guys, is Power of Sacrifice. Once you hit a player with this, they lose 3 health per second, but it increases their strength by 15 over 12 seconds. You got to be really careful if you're hitting a fighter or a barb, someone who's going to W key you with this, because it could actually backfire pretty easy. However, the 3 ticks per second is absolutely huge, and most of the time they just back off. You've probably seen this one, Hellfire, pretty straightforward. Summons Hellfire, blasts towards enemies. The Hellfire does not dissipate when it reaches the target. It does 60 magic damage per second. This is a super good zoning tool, and this is also a super good mob tool if you have a mob chasing you down. So the next two that I run, guys, and this is totally up to you, is Bolts of Darkness and Curse of Weakness. This is super straightforward. It's just going to weaken the target for 10 seconds, aka reducing their base stats by 20%. Feel free, if you have the spell memory capacity, to run any of these other ones. I know Hydra's really popular right now. Bolt of Darkness is kind of like your ranged attack on Warlock. It's going to fire a bolt that does 15 magic damage to the target. These have super high velocity, and I've actually sniped a couple people from really far away. So I like to keep this one on the repertoire. But again, feel free to use any of these depending on your spell memory capacity. Alright, now that we've gone over spells, skills, and perks, I'm just going to show you guys what a base Warlock kit should look like and how you should typically format your kit. Warlock is actually super squishy, so the first thing you should pay attention to is getting yourself a padded tunic or an occultist robe. These have super high armor ratings, and you can typically get the gray ones with typically a strength or an agility roll for like 30 gold. Now typically with pants, you want to try to go for will if you can find them, or knowledge. I like to typically settle just for the agility ones. I find that those work really well, and if you're lucky like me, you'll find a good roll on them. I typically like to go with heavy boots for Warlock. Again, Warlock's a little bit squishy, so I like to take that extra armor rating where I can get it. For gloves, I honestly just take whichever ones I can get out of the leathersmith. This doesn't really matter that much. You want to try to get an extra roll on agility, will, knowledge, something like that. But the most important thing again here, guys, is just going to be the armor rating. Now typically for the hood, I like to just go with your classic occultist hood. These go in the jack-o'-lantern and the tailor for actually relatively cheap. So again, I like to get that extra armor rating, and if you're lucky like me, you'll get a couple good rolls. The most important thing here, if you're going to be playing Warlock, is you need to have a spellbook. You can start off with this magic staff, but it's absolutely terrible. Spellbook is going to make your life so much easier. These typically go from about 12 to 25 golds in the Alchemist. So as Warlock, you're gonna need to have a melee of some sort just to get yourself out of a pinch or deal with AI, or if you're running Blow of Corruption, use it in PvP. Some people like to run the longsword. I haven't perfected it yet, so it's not my favorite. I'll run it if I don't have any other gear, but longsword is a really good choice for Warlock right now. Me personally, I love to run a falchion. When I started playing this game, I was a fighter main, so I'm used to the attack animations and combos. I like to run a falchion. It's a little bit quicker, so pick your poison, longsword or falchion. It's absolutely crucial you have one of these. Now, the really nice part about Warlock here is you actually don't really need to bring any potions of healing or bandages. Again, with his Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice spells, you actually just heal off AI and other players. Now, the most important stat you want to pay attention to or feed Warlock here is going to be Will. This increases your spell power and improves your buff and curse duration. As a spellcaster in Warlock, you're constantly dealing out debuffs, so you want to pump Will as much as you can and get a little bit of knowledge when you can too. Alright everybody, that is going to be your basic Warlock guide. I hope this helps. If it did help, please consider liking and subscribing. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video, and I hope you guys have fun playing Warlock. Cheers!